right.
That's it.
Let's talk about some boat racing.
We could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
All right, yeah.
Do it.
Jeremy. What up, brother?
How you doing?
Hey, man. Thanks for coming by.
Welcome. Happy to be here.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Episode 2.
Yeah.
Episode 2. Going down right now. In COVID.
Yeah.
In fucking
Lockdown,
COVID.
sort of. Governor Melty face. Nobody likes him.
God, it sucks. It sucks so bad. I hate living in New Jersey. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. I say it every day, just about, that I hate this place. I hate New Jersey too.
Pick a place, man.
Florida.
Pick a place. Let's go. I'm in.
I just want to live in Cape Coral.
Well, let's go.
Yeah.
We'll pack up the
I
podcast
look
and
at
leave tomorrow.
houses on Realtor.com weekly, and I send them to my wife, and I'm like, let's move here. She's like, great, sell everything. Just sell everything.
Except the
okay.
race boat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing. Oh, and my center console, I love that little thing.
Dude, speaking of the race boat, one thing I failed to do last time was explain the race boat with Randy. So I actually raced with you.
Yes.
And in a 727 Tomahawk. It's a 22 velocity. And what are you running now? 250?
Yeah.
250 on that.
Roughly.
And well, at least that's what we'll call it.
Yeah,
we won't tell
we'll be
them.
simple about it.
We won't tell them exactly what it is. But yeah, man, I'm excited to get started with this season.
Yeah.
It's been kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
You know,
to say the least.
Being pushed back. I mean,
say the least.
It's horrible, man. It's horrible. And it doesn't get easier.
No.
It just gets harder waiting.
Even just recreational boating. Like I went out over the weekend. I'm like, well, now what? I'm out on my boat. Can I go to a bar? No. What do I do?
It's bad.
I don't fish, so I'm just gonna ride around. I guess I don't know.
I found myself every time I get in a pleasure boat, I want to race somebody.
Start racing people on the parkway too.
It's bad. It's bad, man. It's every time like somebody gets up next to us, I'm like, come on, let's go.
Just go.
Let's go. Come on, give me the
start
nod.
looking at them.
Give me the nod. It's bad, man. But a lot of people have it worse than us, man.
Yeah,
They're saying
true. That's the worst of.
They're saying like
problems.
half the small businesses that are closed right now aren't coming back.
With them and they're, hoping and praying.
It's bad.
Something changes.
Yeah, but Jersey's gotta. Well, not Jersey. Murphy's gotta get his ass in gear and get some of these businesses open and let the Jersey Shore survive. I mean, it's bad, and I just don't understand the logic where we're going to keep the state closed, and if that's how you feel and you feel that that's the best way to go about the situation, then I don't think you need to be out at these protests with no mask,
right,
violating your own stay-at-home order. I mean, we got to get rolling, man. I need racing. I need Point Pleasant.
Yeah, I need something.
I need something.
Go.
I need something. But one cool thing that I did want to bring up with you was Class 7, just Class 7 in general. There's been a lot of traction with that class.
Yeah.
A lot of people are inquiring. I see anywhere between 6 to 7, 8, 9, 10 messages on Facebook a week from people just curious how it works, what they need to do, what the requirements are. So I kind of wanted to just run that down real quick. And it's just a real simple deal. It's 22 feet is the max.
Yeah,
right?
22 feet.
So it's 22 feet's the max. We stop at 60 miles an hour. The reason why we do that, for anybody curious, is we're not always running in the bay. And 60 is plenty fast in 4 to 5s in a 22-foot boat. And in the formula works.
It gets a little short.
It gets a little short. It gets a little short. Yeah. And it's just, I think also with the speed being where it's at, it's kept a lot of people in the game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of 80 mile an hour, 85 mile an hour boats that are propped back to 60. Mm-hmm. The equipment lives, and they can come back time and time again.
And the boat will live too.
Yeah.
Your boat will stay together.
Yeah. Which is super, it's super important. Randy touched on it when we did the first podcast a couple weeks ago, that offshore is a budget thing. And you have to understand your budget, or else you'll be out of the sport in 2 or 3 years.
And we've seen guys do that throughout the years.
Over and over again.
Every class.
Over and over again.
Guys just come in and they're gone real fast.
Yeah. Well, it's a big bite. It's
a
big bite. I mean, even in Class 7, truthfully, you could buy a boat for $2-3 grand, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But you're going to put 10 in it.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. So
guaranteed.
I think that at any level in the sport, you have to understand where your ceiling is.
Right.
And Class 7 is the best way to get in the sport right now.
Yeah, to get in, get your feet wet, And you've seen it with other guys. They've come into Class 7 and then they've moved up to whatever class.
Yeah.
Just to get their feet wet. All right, do I like this? You know?
Right.
And then if you want to get out and say, maybe it's not for me, you can still get out of it. And it's not, oh my God, I just spent, how much money?
Right.
Just lit a lot of money on fire.
Well, and the really, really cool thing about Class 7 is, too, there's a market now.
Right.
Like, I've never seen this in racing, at least since I've been around it, where the race boats actually have a real market.
Right.
They were always just old, beat-up race boats by the time people were done with them. There was nothing left. I mean, you blew them out for whatever you could get.
Trying to get it for a pleasure boat, it's like, oh my God. Then they got to put that much money into it to convert it or clean it up, whatever you want to do.
Right. So now you're seeing these old race boats just come back.
Yeah.
There's so many people that are seeing the momentum in the sport and they want to get in it.
Yeah.
Because it really has. It's come a long way in the last couple of years.
Yeah. It's a cool thing to see, too, when you see the old boats come back.
Yeah.
A boat you saw 15 years ago and you really liked it.
Predator.
Yeah.
Predator, man.
I remember as a kid, I had the T-shirt. It was my favorite boat.
Dude, to me,
bad.
That was the coolest thing that happened this whole off season was Predator coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, that Nate Hunt has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But that boat has a nostalgia to
Absolutely.
it. That's really outside of maybe Island Runner or, I mean, there's a lot of them really.
Yeah.
If you start naming names, I'll get in trouble.
Yeah, if you want to start going into Apache, it's like, well.
Yeah, I'll be on CNN tomorrow. But but the nostalgia of that boat in particular.
Yeah.
Is so exciting to see it come back.
It was a great running boat.
Yeah.
It was always fast.
It was always in the front.
Yeah. It's a great running boat.
It's awesome. I can't wait to see that. And the other one is coming back out is the old Nopper Sutphin.
Yeah.
That raced in Class 6.
Somebody bought it?
Yeah, Johnny Saris bought it up in Lake George with a buddy of his, and I'm sorry,
really?
I don't know the gentleman's name, but they're coming back for Class 6 with it, which is awesome. Really cool.
That was a good running boat, too.
That's an awesome boat. I raced against it a couple of times. I raced against him in Fall River once, had a good battle with him. He was good buddies with Ernie.
Okay.
And Ernie ran the one in Class 5, the all-white one, the boxer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The boxer boat.
Yeah, so
there's
a
cool
lot
boat
of...
too. That's a pretty boat.
They're amazing. Those Sutphins are they're timeless. They're one of those old timeless boats. They're not all timeless. That's a thing, too. Like, everybody thinks that every single old race boat is timeless. There's some that expired.
Yeah.
There's definitely
There's
some that are
about them.
Yeah, there was nothing. I mean, the ones with the big giant wings on the back, we're done with that, but the Apaches, the Sutphins, I mean, you're starting to see them come back in
and
because
they're distinctive.
They're distinctive. You can pick them apart. It's like an old Sig. I mean, you see them around, you know exactly what they are. And the cool thing about it is they're starting to realize they're perfect for bracket class.
Yeah.
The step bottom boats are great for the spec classes.
Yeah.
They don't turn as well as a conventional V. They don't. When you get down to the bracket class stuff, like Ken Bird, if you talk to Ken, he'll tell you that boat gets real squirrely. Ken Bird runs a kryptonite, a step bottom kryptonite in Class 7, and he'll tell you it gets squirrely. You got to be real careful with it, And imagine like your boat is squirrely. I mean, we looped it.
Yeah.
And that's a straight boat.
Yeah.
So
straight bottom with a notch in the transom.
You don't want to go into turn 1 with 8, 9, 10 other guys and lose it in a step bottom boat because it's
gonna go.
You know how that goes. So it's funny. You're starting to see the older boats. The older boats come phase back in because bracket class has gotten so much more competitive and it's really honestly. I mean, it's never going to be the Super Cat, the branding of Super Cat. I mean, when you sit back and just when I say Super Cat, a team came to your mind.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not going to be that. But what it is the crowd racing. That's the cool part. You go into turn 1 with 15, 16 other guys. It's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I mean, I missed my shot. When we were in Inglewood that year, there was, I think it was 2016, there was 18 boats in Class 5.
That's crazy.
And I broke a drive on my way out, and I missed it. I was pissed. But it was cool to watch them go, man. It was cool to see the crowd.
Yeah,
I love that.
When you go into the turn with all these guys next to you, and you're like, I hope he sees me. I'm here, right?
We don't have blinkers or brakes.
No, and no rear mirrors,
No, not at all. But what are you doing? You got yours together for this year or what?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No. You get home from work, it's like, I know I have to work on this. I know I have to work on this soon.
Well, and it was funny. We were just talking about it in the shop where it seems like with racing push back, everybody's got all this time.
Yeah.
All it means is everybody's going to start in 2 months.
That's what I feel like. Because I'm always like scrambling at the end, and I pulled the bracket off because I got to put the new bracket on.
Right. The porta bracket.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
I sealed off the transom because I have to put new holes and all this stuff.
Right.
And that's as far as I got.
Right. Well,
and I looked at it and I'm like,
1 second about that bracket too. Porta's a guy, Scott Porta, Porte Products. I'm sorry if it's Porta, Porte, I always screw up.
I screwed up too.
But he's phenomenal, and he's a great guy in the sport.
Yeah.
He will talk to anybody. If you want to pick his brain, you will leave benefiting from that conversation. He's a genius, and his brackets are phenomenal. In Inglewood last year, he gave one to a random team, and happened to be Jeremy, which was super cool.
The giveaway,
yeah, and
very cool.
It was awesome, man. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott, for supporting. I mean, that's just, we don't get much of that anymore.
No,
it's a shame.
No,
you know?
I know, right?
But anyway, one thing I did want to talk to you about, because I honestly didn't even know this until I was bullshitting with you in Inglewood. How long you've been a fan of this sport?
I think, well, when I was a kid, I used to live next door to the people that own Eastover Marina. So they've literally known me since before I was born. And the owner raced with John Bocius in the Crazy Greek. And I met him as a kid, and he was like, it was like meeting your hero, because, you know, you're everybody talking, oh, it's the Greek, the Greek, the Greek. And it was like, he would take me around the marina and show me all the boats. My mom would freak out where the hell I was, and it was like meeting your hero. So, and I just kind of fell in love with boat racing. And then my dad worked at Kurtz, and then I worked with you guys, and I ended up going to work there, and it's just, my whole life has just been about going to boat racing.
A funny thing too, when we started running this year, that I got so many people that were like, how do you know Jeremy?
Yeah.
Dude, Jeremy used to drive down the Parkway and pick me up from my after school program.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I was like 18.
Yeah,
dude, you were young.
I was a kid, man.
Yeah,
you know, all crazy. I would do was follow you around and ask you about Giants facts.
Yeah. I remember one day I had to pick you up from school, and I get there, and I was like, "Boomer here?" The girl's like, "Who?" I'm like, "Nicholas." She's like, "Oh no, he went home." I'm like, "What do you mean he went home?" So I call your dad, and he's like, "Oh shit." He's like, "Yeah, you got to go to the house," and I'm like, "Where the hell's the house?" Like, driving around, I pick you up. You're like, "Oh yeah." So I just took the bus home.
I'm not good at rules.
I was like, you want to come to the shop? You're like, nah, I'm good here. It's like, all right, see ya.
Oh, yeah, but it was a funny thing, man. I had so many people ask me that, and I'm like, dude, I've known Jeremy for fucking 15 years.
I think it was like, I worked here in 2004.
Yeah, we were still racing the Viper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, you still did. It was before the fountain.
Yep. So it had to be 04, 05-ish.
Yep.
Right there.
Yep.
When this place was rocking and rolling. It's crazy to see, too. It's really good to see that the marine industry is bouncing back.
Yeah, crazy.
It's so nice, man. I was out boating last weekend, and there's so many new boats.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Everywhere.
Brand new. You know, whereas go back 3-4 years ago, there was nobody boating new boats. I mean, nobody could afford them.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, the prices haven't changed. The economy just came back.
It just,
you know?
Yeah, people are making money.
Yeah. And I'm glad. I've been talking to a lot of our teams, and nobody seems to have a horror story yet.
No.
A down and out horror story yet. So
that's a good thing.
It's a great thing. And if there's somebody out there in our community that is having trouble, definitely reach out. I mean, our community's tight.
Yeah.
Our community's tight. We'll do whatever we can to help. And it seems like the teams are going to come back. There's not, you know.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it seems good.
That.
I'm hoping.
I think everybody needs it. Everybody needs to get out and feel normal again.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Not only that, you know, I don't know if this is the same with everybody, but when I get to the race, I actually feel like I got home. Like I don't feel out of place. I don't feel like I'm on vacation. I don't feel.
It's like a comfort zone.
Yeah, I know everybody. Everybody's cool. I'm safe. These are all good people.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I mean, it is
like
in most cases. It is family.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. And
so Chrissy calls it, my wife, she calls it the crazy racing family. So
exactly,
it's literally what it feels like. You go to a race, everybody knows each other, and
yeah. And I need that. I feel like the guys need that. I feel like the fans need that. You know where I can't wait to go is St. Clair.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
That's
I'm
a cool
upset.
race.
I'm upset. It's totally canceled for this year.
Yeah.
But I can't, like I'm so bummed about missing that because we've been doing that race for I don't know 13, 14 years, something like that. I could be off. It might be more. I'm not exactly sure. But I've gotten to know the fans as well as I know the guys that show up to the race. It's crazy. I mean I've met kids. You know I started racing in 09. Right? So I've met kids in 09 that were 9, 10 years old that now ask me if I need to borrow their pickup or something to get to the ramp.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I know them. I talk to them on Facebook, and there's so many teams that do that. Louie's one of them with Strictly Business. He is so good at staying in touch with all these people.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's
amazing.
awesome. And it's awesome. I mean, he's got kids that he met at races that travel with him to other races and help him wash the boat. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, he does it all the time.
That's amazing.
It's great. To me, that's the best part of the sport.
Yeah.
Is the personability.
It makes it different than other sports.
Yeah.
You know?
It does. You can literally walk into the crane area, pick up a deck brush, and help.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to turn it down.
Sure. You sure you want to do this?
Yeah, I'll give you a shirt and everything, man. It's funny, man. It's such a wacky, different sport. There's nothing like it. And I say that all the time, and I'm always thinking like, am I wrong? Like, is a lot of other shit like this? It's not.
Yeah, it's not. You can't go to a NASCAR race and just go, hey, you need me to pick up a wrench and help you? It's like,
no,
get out of here. Like, what are you doing?
For free, too.
Yeah, for free.
Like, just for free. Like, just walk in, no money, and just walk up to any team you want.
Right.
It's crazy. It's awesome. I love it. There's nothing like it.
No, it's unique all in itself where you can do all that and then go watch and then be a fan and say, hey, I know that guy.
Right.
Like I actually know them.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's awesome, man. And we go to so many cool places now.
Yeah.
I think back when OPA first started. Not when it first started, when my old man first took over. Yeah. And there was Seaside and Point Pleasant, and we ran them both like 4 times a year.
All run the Seaside.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The one year, we started in Point Pleasant. That was the only way we could. That's an awesome story. That was the only way we could afford to run that race. So we didn't have enough sponsorship money in Point Pleasant, and we didn't have enough sponsorship money in Seaside. So what we did was we started the race in Point Pleasant, and we finished the race in Seaside. It was the only way to make it work.
It's crazy.
And I think back to that, and I look at where we are now and where the sport is now, and it's like, how do you not just love the time period we're in right now? We got those one wheels. Those the skateboards with the one wheel in the middle.
Yeah. They're
awesome. I love them.
Are they really?
Oh, dude, they're so much fun. And honest, man, you gotta be careful. You can get hurt.
I believe they look
rip.
like you could. Yeah.
They rip, dude.
No shit, really.
Yeah, like they call it floating, and it's what you feel like, man. Like 15, 16, 17 miles an hour doesn't sound. Fast. It doesn't sound that fast until you're doing it.
I thought they went like 8.
No, they're fun. They rip.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and when you go downhill, it recharges it. So, like, the whole concept behind it is bombing hills with them. And they'll go, like, the one I got will go 20 miles without charging it.
I gotta get one of these.
Dude, they're awesome. And they're pricey. Like, mine was $2,000. But to me, it was better than a Grom.
Well, yeah.
Because you gotta have a pit vehicle,
I bought a pit bike, I just never picked it up. I gotta go get it from my friend's house.
But
and then COVID hit, and he's like, I'm like, you want me to just wire you the money? I'll just PayPal you? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. Well, I'll just leave it there for a while then, I guess.
We were in Fort Myers, and me and my girlfriend Sam, we were one-wheeling around, and it was when we had the block party there. And I just remember like wheeling down the street and looking at this parade that we were doing. And I was honest, I've been around racing literally my whole entire life. Right. I have never seen that hardware before. I've never seen the caliber of hardware. You roll past those Victories. You roll past Victory, Geico, 220, 222. Sorry, they don't like being not 222. It's 222. And you go by those, and it just those 3 boats is like, oh my god.
Why do they call it 222?
I don't know. Hopefully, maybe like at some point he can come here and explain it to me.
Yeah, I always wondered that because there's Victory, there's Geico, there's Nigel Hook with his boat, the Silver Hook, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, 222.
That Silver Hook, man, that is That boat,
it's a cool looking boat.
It baffles me because it truthfully, it performs extremely well.
Yeah, it's fast.
Extremely well.
Yeah.
It's really fast. For a big V-bottom like that, I don't know how long it is. It's got to be 85 feet long.
Yeah.
When you walk past it in the pits, it takes like a half
endless,
hour.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I love it. It's so cool. It was here once. We pulled the motor out of it and put one of their spares in between races once. And I remember just walking around it and being like, how long is this thing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
and
huge.
it's wide.
Yeah, I would love to run it in like some real bump. You know,
Yeah.
it's got to be awesome in rough water.
Right.
You know, I wish there was a class. I wish there was a bigger class for them. You know, like a step up from the V Extreme class with Instigator and Lily.
It kind of, something in between.
Yeah, something like, you know, above that, but below, you know, the cats. Because there's so many of those big V-bottoms out there that won't hang with a finely tuned fountain.
Right.
You know, there is a market for that. You know, and it's true. I mean, I've been around a while. Like the Outer Limits ran really, really good.
Yeah.
But those fountains have so much time on a race course.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that's what it is. You know, they're a purpose-built machine. I love the Outer Limits. They're beautiful. They run amazing. I mean, they really do. They're the current fastest V-bottom in the world, regardless of what anybody wants to say.
They ran the number, so
yeah. I mean, it really happened, and they really are the fastest. But there's something to be said about the R&D of a fountain with time actually on a race course.
Right.
You know, I've never seen one on a race course that didn't look like it was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Never ever. I've never just seen a bad one. They all run, man. So there needs to be like a next step, like a maybe like a Mercury power plant, 42 and up V-bottom class.
That would be cool.
A step up there. The only problem is we have so many classes in offshore.
Yeah, it's like recreating another class, and then
the
confusion starts hard. Over again.
Dude, I just shout out to Mark Henderson because he's the only dude I know in the last 10 years that created good classes. Class 6 was his brainchild.
Yeah.
And Class 7 was his brainchild.
Yeah.
I mean,
he had that 22 velocity.
Yeah, and before that, the 24 Pantera.
Yep.
Where he came up with Class 6. I mean, he really is a pioneer in this sport and continues to be.
Oh yeah. He'll call me just to talk about racing.
Yeah.
He called me last night and I was busy. I didn't answer. Sorry, Mark.
He was by the shop.
I meant to call him back.
He was by the shop 2 weeks ago, and we sat here in this room for like 3 or 4 hours, and I don't remember anything we talked about. It's just one of those conversations where
it's like flowing.
There's no reason to end it.
Yeah.
Like I wish he would come on and do this show with me because he's one of the guys that had the only other guy that I can think of off the top of my head that's like him is Ryan Beckley.
Oh yeah.
Where just like I could say, remember that blue boat, and I won't even complete the thought, and he'll be like, Destin, Florida, 2007, it rolled over in turn 1, and I'll be like, how do you even remember that?
You go on Facebook. People that are just fans of the sport, they're like, oh yeah, let's just ask Ryan.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Ryan, man. Ryan's a book.
He's like an encyclopedia of offshore.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
He is. He's incredible.
Really?
And look at and he's another one. I mean, look at Superstock.
Yeah. It's been there forever.
Without Ryan Beckley, what does that class look like?
Yeah.
I mean, he's kept some structure in that class over the years. It's so good. I mean, the guys are so good. All of them. All of them. The guys are amazing. There's really no bad eggs. There's a couple of pain in the asses, but there's no like guys where I'm like.
There's nowhere you're like.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few where like I know when I walk up, this is going to be an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's not a bad conversation.
No,
necessarily.
They're all great people.
Yeah.
And that's I can't thank the offshore community enough for what they do. I mean, just build a boat. And do what we do in one race and see if you want to do it again.
Right.
And there's these guys that have been doing this for 30 years, 40 years. How many times has Bob Teague raced a boat? Like 3 million times?
Yeah.
It's like the passion in this sport, I think, is really what drives it. Because there's no other reason to do it. There's no money. There's zero money. You're not winning anything.
You're not winning anything. It's funny, people ask, friends that don't exactly know, they're like, do you win anything? I'm like, no. So what'd you win? I'm like, a trophy.
Even if
and I liked it. I was pretty happy about it.
Even if you took first place at our race site with the most money.
Right.
All you did was break even.
Right.
You know, and people don't get that. And it bothers me that people don't get that, because that is why you should appreciate these guys that come back over and over and over again. You know, and not just the big money teams, the small guys. I mean, I talked about them on the last podcast, but the Smith Brothers team, right?
Yeah.
Just think about what they've been through. I mean, they pretty much put everything they had into buying that Joker.
Right.
Fast forward a couple of years, it sinks. It's total. It's completely total. By the end of that year, they were in Inglewood.
Yeah. Fixed. Running again.
And these guys aren't millionaires.
The boat bounced off the bottom for like a week.
A week before we found it.
Yeah.
And they rebuilt it, and they were in the World Championship that year. And the following year, registered their name in the Hall of Champions for the second time.
It's amazing.
And they build horse trailers or something. You know, it's like
they build trailers.
They're not billionaires. They're not day traders, and you know what I mean. They're blue collar guys that really want to do this. You know, and that's not like I think 90% of why this show exists is because I want more people to come boat racing.
Yeah.
And if that's not a reason to come boat racing, it's that cool, man. Yeah. These guys are missing meals because they can't miss boat races.
Yeah.
You know,
it's the craziest thing.
It's awesome.
You know, it's okay. We're going racing this weekend. It's like, all right, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah. What are you doing? You gonna try to hit the ass end of this season?
I'm gonna try to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
we got some good. We got some good ones still.
Definitely gonna try to. Work's a little crazy.
Yeah.
People going boating. Can't do anything else, so they want to do that. So it's a little hectic, but I definitely try to do as much as I can. Certainly Point Pleasant.
Yeah. Well, of course, can't miss the hometown race.
Yeah, it's a little close.
But there's still some good ones. Azam and his people at P1 are still full speed ahead with Cocoa Beach.
Cool.
Which I actually just found out that is the same day as the next SpaceX launch.
Really?
Which is pretty cool.
You get to see that.
I'd love to see that. That'd be pretty neat. And maybe talk to Elon and see if we could put a race boat on that thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'd love to shoot a race boat into space. I'm in. I'm in, dude. Yeah. But there's still some good stuff, man. Inglewood just got a good chunk of change at a really needed time. You know, their sponsor situation was looking bleak.
Yeah. It's a small town, so it's amazing what they do.
And they get hit hard. You know, you got to remember, even regardless of COVID and everything else, they deal with red tide. Yeah. So by the time we get there in November, their businesses have been shut down for 2 or 3 months minimum. Right. So when we pull into town, 9 times out of 10 is the day they put the open sign on the window.
It's amazing.
That's why they love that race so much. It's such a beautiful partnership there.
Yeah. Where
we help them as much as they help us.
Right.
And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, that's one of my favorite race sites. Was last year your first year there?
Yeah, that was the first time I was
What'd you think of that?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
The
town was awesome.
It's
easy to get everywhere.
Yeah, it's a little sleepy. It's a sleepy town. There's not too many bars or anything crazy like that going on.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't really care about that. I mean, after the race, if everybody's in the same place, it's kind of cool because then you see everybody and you can
that's my favorite
talk about everything, or if somebody has a problem, you find out and it can help them or whatever the case is.
That's my favorite part about Inglewood is I hate when we go to race sites and everybody disappears.
Yeah.
Right? Like the race is over.
It's more inclusive.
Yeah, well, and not only that, we all stay right there on the road. So it's like when you go to certain races where the race is over, you want to go back to the hotel and take a shower, right? It's 10 miles away from the pits. Everybody disappears. You know, by the time you're done racing, the old lady wants something to eat, or you got to get the kids you got to get the kids changed and in team shirts and get ready for the awards. Well, you don't see anybody.
Yeah.
It's just like everybody just disappears, and then by the time it's all said and done and you're in the truck on your way home, it feels like it didn't even happen.
Right.
That's not the case with Inglewood.
Right.
Inglewood feels like a party from Thursday till Monday morning.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Every day.
We all end up at the same bar, the Lock and Key or the Sandbar, and then when that closes, we all go to that pool hall across the street that's open till like 5 a.m. Right. It's awesome. It's so cool, and I think that's the funny thing about the racing community is we just really can't wait to get together and party together.
Yeah.
It's like if we make it to Sunday, that's cool, but we're here to drink and party and have a good time and hang out with the fans. And
well, that's the thing. You still got to enjoy yourself at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, because that's why so many of us do it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's really what it's about. The racing thing is its own separate thing.
Right.
It's like there's situations where you have to dive into that. You can't get in a supercat and not have your head screwed on straight.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you kind of have to be on your A game to do that.
Yeah, A game's a whole. It's a whole other thing. It's like when we're getting ready Sunday morning, right? And it's not that it's any less competitive or any less important, right? But there's something different about climbing into something that is traveling at rates of speeds that can most definitely hurt you and kill you.
Right.
And you can't walk into that without your head screwed on straight.
Right.
You got to be prepared. I watched my brother go through it, Throttleman AMH. I'm bad at that. He throttles AMH, the Supercat, in number 8 Supercat, and I watch him the night before, and it's a system. It's like there's a way to carry yourself the night before, you know, to be when you wake up in the morning, you're ready to rock and roll. It's not the same as what the other half of us do.
Yeah, you know? All right. I think I'm going for a boat ride tomorrow.
We all hang out and we bullshit in the pits and we talk shit to each other and we get ready for tomorrow and it's going to be fun. And to me, that is actually a beautiful thing. Like some people get upset about that being spoken about, but to me, that's the most beautiful part about it, is there is two completely different sides of it.
Right.
If you want to just come and put up your tent and hang out with your buddies and go out on Sunday and give it your best shot, and you can totally do that. Yeah. And there's plenty of dudes that are there to party with you.
That's the cool part about going into bracket racing.
It's awesome. It's awesome because you can. It's not like you show up and you're alienated. Oh, like no. I've been through that. I've been through that multiple times in our history in offshore, and it's a horrible feeling. Like it's just when you know they don't want you there. They don't. It's horrible. But what I don't see that in OPA. I don't think that there's a situation where anybody pulls into the pits and doesn't feel welcome.
Yeah, I mean, we get a new team and it's like, you need help? What do you got? What is this?
Yeah.
You know, how'd you buy it? you know, where'd you get it?
Yeah.
Did you find it in a barn? Like, what? Did you buy it from a neighbor? Like, where did you get the boat? And it's a cool thing.
Yeah, and you can just so quickly become part of the family.
Yeah.
You know, and that's I mean, it's not just drinking and partying and bullshit. It's a family. And some of the guys enjoy just hanging with the family. You know, it's so cool. It's so cool that that's possible. That there's something out there where it's like an outlet for us adrenaline junkies, you know, to just go fuck off and have fun, man. It's awesome. But I wanted to continue the conversation about Class 7 because there's one thing in particular about it that not a lot of people have caught on to yet. But I think in the next couple of months, there's going to be a few manufacturers producing purpose-built Class 7 boats. Yeah. And I think that is the evolution of the class.
And there's already one.
There's one, the Battle Wagon.
Well, Velocity.
And Velocity's coming out with one, but they're established.
Yes.
There's new guys that are popping up all over the place, looking for hulls, looking for molds,
that Battle Wagon boat is a cool boat.
And they run fucking great.
Very cool boat.
And they run great. And I'm excited about that because that's what Class 7 needs right now. Right. It needs a facelift. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's only so many 22-foot boats that are still in good shape that you're willing to go kick the shit out of.
Yeah, I look at it and I'm like, oof.
Well, and yours is in good shape. You know, there's a lot of it is. I mean, really even the worst boat on the course is still a good boat. Yeah. It's just how many Point Pleasants are they going to take?
Right. That's the thing. Yeah.
And I think that once we get into that side of things, where you start to get some of the purpose-built machines coming into that class, I think that's when you'll see the growth of that class. Because not a lot of people realize that the single outboard mold, that the mold of that class has been a premier class in offshore.
Yeah, for a long time.
For a very long time. I believe it was A class.
Yeah, it was. I never understood how they broke it down. I never actually went back and looked it up.
Right.
But it was A class with the outboard, A class with a stern drive.
Yeah, and
then there was double A class.
Where it was twins, right? It's so hard because, and that's the hard part about the sport, and why I really wanted to do this show. You can't Google this. Yeah. You can't there's no way to Google what was A class.
Right.
You got to find people and talk to them about it. But anyway, it was a premier class. I mean, that was the big show for a long time, and it could be again. And I think, truthfully, it kind of is. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, you might have your on paper biggest classes, your class ones, your super cats, your super stock, all that stuff. But if you wanted to pick the people's champ, it's class 7.
Right.
The people love watching those little boats because it is hairy, it is out of control. And when people hear 60 miles an hour, they go, oh, my boat does that. I could do that. That's slow. That's not racing.
Yeah, go do it in a 22-foot boat.
Do it, man.
In the Atlantic Ocean.
Do it.
Just try to do 60 in the ocean consistently.
How many of your friends at Ticey Shoals, okay, were they pulled up and they rafted up with you and they want to tell you all about how fast their boat is now?
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's like, all right, I get it. But do it in a situation where you can't lift. The way I explain offshore racing is this. If you've seen Times Square, okay, and you've seen the mad traffic of Times Square, imagine when you come through the tunnel, somebody put a rock on your pedal and said drive.
Yeah.
That's offshore. It's a car accident every 20 feet.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Nothing about it is easy.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you're out there with 10 other people that are not going to lift.
Right.
There is no lifting.
Yeah, there's no stopping. I think I'll have a bottle of water, I'll have a Coke, I'll have a beer.
Well, not only that, there's no getting into turn 1 and going, this doesn't look good. You lost.
Right. It's over.
You lost right there.
Over in turn 1.
You lost. So you got to be on your shit. You got to kind of be out of control. And that's why I think we've never allowed any faster speeds in Class 7, because I think the elevation of that class is coming. I think
you can see it every year. New teams and guys just improving their boats.
Yeah.
And finding new ways to make them faster and doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
There's a lot of people that are working hard with the Class 7 boats, which it's so cool to me because after doing it with you, I get it now.
Yeah.
I didn't get it before. I get it now. That it is nuts.
Yeah,
it is absolutely
crazy.
nuts. I've raced in a shitload of different kinds of boats now. That is the craziest shit I've ever done.
Yeah.
I mean, it truthfully is. It's not about the speed or the boat or anything. It's about the combination of that class. The rules in that class, the way it was laid out, the way it was intended to be, it's all perfect.
Yeah, and I think guys that do it, it gives you the confidence to move up. If you can, you think you can do it and you do it, then you go, okay, I think I can race a bigger boat now.
And that's the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
If you can drive one of those boats, you can move up to any class you want. That's the truth, because I've been doing it for 10 years and I'm by no means the best around. But I've got some time in a helmet.
Yeah.
And I lost yours. You know what I mean? It's a different thing, man. If you can learn how to drive those boats, if you can get competitive in that class, you'll do well in any aspect of offshore.
Yeah,
because that's an understanding. That's different. It's not when you're running 75 in a Y2K superboat, right?
Right. Yeah.
Where you got deck in front of you, you got horsepower behind you, and you're negotiating with the race course. That's what I always called it, was being a negotiator. There's things you can and can't do. Right. And it's not your ability. It's what the ocean allows you to do, and it's what the competitors in your class allow you to do. And you got to make the best of every single situation. That's how you get to the front.
Right.
When you talk about Class 7, it's the limitation of the hull.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do.
It's feel. It's finesse. It's not looking into turn 1 and saying that guy's going to slide out so I can go under him and then hopefully that guy doesn't come down and get the next pin.
Right.
It's none of that. It's who can hang on to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you can learn how to do that, you can do that in any boat.
Yeah.
Truthfully. And if they ever get into a more serious lane and it's not that it's not dead serious now, but if they ever get a little faster, if you ever get some purpose-built Class 7 boats out there that are ready to rock and roll with some good freeboard where you're not so worried about running so tight with everybody, and like your boat's really good, truthfully. Like when I sit in yours,
you have a false sense of security.
Yeah, but it's here.
Yeah.
It's here. There's some of them where you're sitting on the deck, and
you're pretty tall.
That's scary, man. Yeah. That's a different feeling.
Yeah, I don't know. I look over, I'm like, man, you're right over there.
Well, and it's one thing you guys got over A class. And I hope I'm right about A-Class. I'll get torn apart for that. But it's one thing you guys have that they didn't, where it wasn't tight.
Right.
It wasn't a traffic jam in every pin. You know, where now every single turn you're in traffic.
Yeah.
You know, so I would like to see the evolution of that class, and it's coming.
Yeah,
it's
I definitely can
coming.
see it. I definitely can see it.
Yeah.
Even just like we were saying, having builders out there that are available. If somebody wants to get into the class, they don't want to buy an older boat, they want to buy a new boat, go for it.
Yeah,
It's
and
awesome.
I think that may be. There's a lot of talk about finding a spec set of rules for that class.
Yeah.
That is the next step to that. That's, you know, if we can get an agreement, you know, we'd have to sit with the class and the builders and everything else. This is, you know, in my opinion, a year out,
Right.
2 years out. It's not 10 years down the road.
Yeah, it's not something you could just whip up in an hour and say, okay, guys.
Yeah, but it's also
got it.
not 10 years in the future. I think
Right.
it's right here around the corner. And I think with Mercury putting out the power that they're putting out right now,
Yeah,
I mean,
those are fucking killer.
they're building the best shit. I mean, they just straight up are. There's no way to work around it.
Look, have pontoon boats we sell at work, and you put a 300 on one, and it puts you in the seat.
Yeah.
In a pontoon boat, and you're like, what the hell just happened?
Dude, you want to talk
I got a
about
50-mile-an-hour pontoon boat.
pontoon boats, man? Here's
I raced against one in Lake of the Ozark, and
Dude.
it totally blew my mind.
I was in the green boat, and that was such a mind fuck. I felt like P. Diddy was driving the boat from Get 'em to the Greek. It was a straight mind fuck. I'm running down this front stretch with the green boat, and at that time it was the 510 motor with the giant runners and everything. I mean, it was a screamer, you know, easy 900 horse.
Yeah.
And we're running along. It's 6,000 RPM, and we're just coming up to the dam where all the people are, and it's about the end of the race. It's winding down, and I hear like this. It's like when you're driving in your car and you got the window open just enough, just like you could slip a piece of paper through it. You know that?
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? It's the T-top on a pontoon boat next to me at 75 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And he told me he didn't want to pass me in front of all the people. He told me that after the race. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. How fast does that thing go? And he told me he's got two 400s at the time on it, and it would run 100.
It's an animal.
It's a pontoon boat.
Yeah. I know. The guy in Lotto, Scott French and I, we'd beat him out of the turn. Like, all right, okay, not worried about it. I purposely broke out the whole race because I didn't want to lose to the pontoon boat. Before the race, everybody's like, don't lose to the pontoon. Don't lose to the pontoon. I'm like, I'm not even racing him. Next thing I know, the first lap, we're next to each other. And I'm like, fuck this.
Dude, isn't it a bad feeling when you look over and he's sitting at the helm of the center console?
Yeah.
With the thing, with the cup holders and
the front seats, the whole deal. And
he's
like,
kneeling.
what the fuck is going on?
It's bad. It's demoralizing.
Get a single 400. So we beat him out of the turn. Get to the next turn. He'd be next to me again. I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm like, how do I get away from this guy? So at the end of the race, I see him after. I'm like, hey man, how's fast that boat go? He's like, unofficially, I don't know. He said like 84, 86. I was like, and that? I was like, you're insane. Even we're coming in, and I'm watching him go down the race course, just thinking and flying all over the place. I'm like, this guy's gonna die.
It's awesome.
This guy's gonna get spit out of this thing.
Did you see the one that was out there?
It's crazy.
And I don't remember. I really should. I don't remember the manufacturers. But the one had two 383s in it and Bravos.
Yeah,
built in the pontoons.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's like a new thing. They're building. I'm like, I don't ever want to have to work on one of these.
I have absolutely no use for a pontoon boat where we live, but that's an amazing concept.
On a lake, that thing's gonna be awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's the best thing ever. You put 20 people on it.
Yeah.
It's a pontoon boat, but it does 60 when you're cruising.
Yeah,
it's unreal.
It's like you pass me another drink. 60 with the bimini top up.
It's so cool.
But
we got what else we got? We got Point Pleasant is they're pushing for Point. I just to rewind to that. They're pushing for Point. It's on the schedule for August 14th, but we weren't anticipating this governor.
Yeah.
He just won't quit. Yeah. And it's hurting the ability to find the sponsorship we need. And the other thing that is becoming a problem everywhere in the country right now is a lot of what we do revolves around first responders.
Yep.
We have paramedics and EMTs at every race that do a tremendous job, but they've been doing a tremendous job now for 4 or 5 months.
Right.
and they're about worn out.
Yeah.
Taking on side work
isn't
in the cards right now,
Yeah.
So we're having a little bit of an issue there, but nothing we can't work around. I'm hoping that date sticks per the governor. There's no reason why we couldn't run the race.
It seems like everything's improving.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I think that I don't know what to think, man.
Yeah,
I don't think
know.
anybody. Let's just
really
be real about it. Who the fuck has any idea what's happening right now?
Well, nobody really knows. Look at the CDC and the World Health Organization. They just don't know shit about fuck.
Nobody knows.
They really
anything.
don't know anything.
Nobody knows anything, and it's like, and the only thing that everybody does know for sure
I
is.
totally stole that from a meme I saw.
I saw that. It's Ruth from Ozarks. I got you. I got it. But it's the one thing that everybody does know for sure is who they want to blame.
Yeah.
But nobody is being proactive.
No.
It's horrible. I mean, every time I go on Facebook, it's never positive.
No.
It's never positive.
Everything's negative.
So it's like, how do you know? How do you know if it's getting better, if it's getting worse, if it's flat, if we're flattening the curve?
Right.
Who knows? Right. I don't know. All I know is everybody's outside anyway.
Right.
Everybody's doing this shit anyway.
I went to F Cove on Sunday. Packed.
Right.
Packed.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, F Cove is like the coolest spot in Brick.
Yeah, it's like a party cove.
It's party cove.
Yeah.
And it's slammed. You can't fit another boat in there.
Nope.
And 2 weeks later, nobody's coughing.
Nobody's coughing. Nobody was social distancing. Like, definitely nobody was social distancing in that place.
Look, I have a cousin that was in a coma for over 40 days. I have a customer here that we love dearly that passed away. I'm not saying that this isn't real or that this isn't important or that this isn't. But the truth of the matter is, we can't. I can't live shut in my house anymore.
No,
I can't. I think
getting stir crazy.
A lot of people can't.
Fever.
Yeah, it's and not only that, you miss your hobbies, you miss your thing, you miss being able to, like, dude, you know what kills me? I'm a coffee guy. You know how hard it's been to, like, not get up in the morning and be able to just walk into Wawa?
Yeah.
Like, they make it for you, but, like, you got to put on a mask, and I'm like, 90% of the reason why I don't go to stores anymore is that stupid mask.
Yeah, it drives me nuts.
I'm tired of wearing it.
Drives me nuts.
I'm out, dude. I'm over it. Thank God we don't have to do that
every
here.
morning to put the mask on when I go to Wawa, so then I have to go back to my
the
truck, put the mask on, and every day there's some guy that's just hanging out in front going, I forgot to do that too. And I'm like, I'm not alone.
I watched a dude at West Marine the other day. Walking out of the store, there's a guy standing next to the door, and he tapped him. I was in my truck. I have no idea what he said. He tapped him, and the guy handed him his mask. He borrowed the other guy's mask, went in, bought what he needed, and gave the guy's mask
they're
back.
not cared about anything.
This is so stupid, man. What are we doing? Why can't we go boat racing?
Guys sharing masks.
It's horrible, man.
I just wouldn't want to share the mask and be like, that guy had bad breath. And then I got to walk around the store for 10
minutes. And now you got bad breath.
Like, oh shit, this guy stinks.
And then you got to think of the whole. Well, and then you got to think of the whole process in which how you acquired his bad breath. Now you're thinking about that all day, and now you'll never forget that guy. I don't feel like dealing with this anymore.
That smell in your nostrils the entire day.
Or how many people do you see standing in line and it's just like.
Yeah. The Darth Vader mask.
It's like, come on, man. Dude, like at any moment now, he's going to force choke me.
Even when it first happened, I'm like, I'm going into a store with a mask and a hat on.
Yeah.
And I'm not robbing it.
I know.
At all.
I know.
It was just a weird feeling.
Dude, it's horrible. It's horrible. This whole thing is just, I get it. I think it's just way out of proportion.
Yeah.
It's so far out of proportion. And the fact that they're stopping boat racing is terrible. Because first of all, we can't afford this. You know what I mean? We can't afford this. We need to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
But second of all, man, we can regulate ourselves. We had a plan in place, but before all this went down, we had a plan in place. We had it all worked out. It would have been perfectly fine, you know. And look, I get it. They don't need, you don't need Lake St. Clair population of 42 people to all of a sudden have a massive outbreak after the race comes. I get it. I understood that, but we're past that now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're past that now. We got to get this shit open back up, and we got to get back to boat racing.
I think it'll happen.
It's going to happen. No doubt it's going to happen, but it needs to happen soon.
Yeah.
Is my problem with it, because I think in what I'm saying about boat racing, you can apply to whoever listens to this. Whatever your thing is that's being taken away from you right now, it's horrible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should be out lighting shit on fire, but it's horrible. Everybody feels the same way. Like, there's people that are getting tickets for sitting in lawn chairs on the beach.
Isn't that crazy?
It's bullshit. So you're allowed to stand on the beach, but you can't sit on the beach.
I could go to a sandbar and I can stand there.
Yeah.
With everybody else.
There's a sign in Long Beach Island that says no sunbathing.
It's amazing.
It's on the list of things you're not allowed to do because of COVID.
Yeah.
What? What are we talking about here? What are we doing?
It's
horrible, man.
It's
and
amazing.
I don't want to harp on COVID, but
no.
it's just it's
Talk about
killing
happier
me.
things.
Yeah, happier things. There is one good happy thing that's recent. Is we got the Phantom pretty much done. Pretty much.
Awesome.
I've been saying that for 2 years, but it's pretty much done. So I know a lot of people messaged me after the last podcast, and I was bullshitting with Randy about it, and they didn't even know I bought that boat.
Really?
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet,
Yeah.
And I'm super excited about that. I'm so pumped because I cannot wait to get in with those knuckleheads.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do. It could be any class. I'll enjoy racing. It's those guys.
Right.
They're nuts.
Yeah.
They're out of their minds, and I can't wait. There's a measuring stick in Offshore right now, and in my opinion, Britt Lilly is holding it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get wrapped up in that class.
Yeah, that'd be hard to disagree with.
Dude, he's holding it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was undefeated last year in his SVO. I'm pretty sure.
I can't think of a race that he lost.
I'm almost positive he was undefeated. And if he wasn't, there was only one or two that he didn't win. And on top of that, the work that he did in that fountain against my brother and Instigator was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And that's not even a cut down 42.
Yeah, that's an older boat.
That's an old school 42.
Yeah.
That was Cintron, and before that it was Firewater.
Yep.
That's an older boat, and he's out there right next to them. I mean, running right with them.
It's pretty wild.
Dude, it's amazing. In my opinion, he's holding the stick.
Yep.
So I can't wait. I can't wait to get mine together and get out there and get in that class. I mean, I'm pumped for that. So that's happy. That's happy shit right there. And we got a good crowd for Class 7.
Yeah.
That's going to be unbelievable. I was on the Class 7 page the other day just kind of cruising around. I don't like that page. There's way too much drama on that page.
Yeah, I kind of hit the mute button.
It's horrible, man. But and dude, most of it from people who've never even been in a boat race before. So I hope if anybody watches this podcast and has been on that Class 7 page, please don't let that deter you. That's not what happens in real life.
Well, even you go to a race, that drama from that page isn't what happens at a race site at all.
No, or ever, really.
Yeah.
It's just keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
But I was on there, and what I do take away from that is that's how many people are vested in that class. And there's people coming. I mean, there's a lot of new boats. The hot foot thing really threw a monkey wrench into it, which I understand. I get that. But that's a rule now. Yeah. Any team that was running a hot foot can continue to run a hot foot for this year. Any new team has to have a driver and Throttleman. And come next season, all teams will have to have a driver and Throttleman. And that's not just for Class 7. That's all the way across the board. Yeah. Offshore is a team sport. It takes two people. Yeah. There's absolutely no conversation to be had about it.
Just in my experience, my old boat, I had a hot foot in it, just a pleasure boat. I couldn't imagine racing it with a hot foot. I don't know how some of the guys do it. Good for them. I can't do it. I just beyond me.
I couldn't imagine trying to throttle one. I couldn't, and maybe in a lake, but not in any kind of chop.
I don't know how they do it.
No,
it's good for them.
And there is, and not to listen.
I'm not knocking them.
There's a lot of people that do it very well.
Yeah,
and very competitively.
Hey man, good for you.
I just personally, I think it's got to be difficult, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I just can't wrap my head around trying to do that. Hold on, steer, look around,
trim, watch the gauges, watch the speed, watch who's around you. It's too much. You got to have a driver and Throttleman.
Yeah, I just can't.
It's that simple. But that threw a little monkey wrench in there. There was a couple of new teams that are upset about the hot foot rule, but I think they'll come around. I know for sure there's 2 brand new teams. There's 2 more guys that I've been talking to and out they have boats.
That's an awesome thing.
Yeah, and they have boats. They're ready to rock and roll, but they're just not completely committed yet. So that's awesome to see in that class, because the growth of that class in just the last 2 or 3 years is like triple what it ever was.
Oh yeah.
So I'm loving this, man, because I love racing your boat with you, because I feel like I'm a part of the grassroots racing
it's
now.
Like the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Backbone.
It's awesome.
Old school.
I thoroughly enjoyed getting our asses kicked. I did.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I had a blast with you the second day in Inglewood.
If only a motor ran that good on the first day.
I know. I know.
The Fallon spark plugs was like, oh my god.
That's part of it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just, I the first year I bumped from Class 6 to Class 5. That year, I think it was 2015. I literally broke every single race.
Yeah.
Every single race. And it never anything huge. I never even really had to fix anything.
Stuff.
Just stupid shit.
Yep.
And it happens, know. But we went through that. I don't think we start and finish the race on a healthy motor all year. But it's gremlins. That shit happens.
Yeah,
man.
I had gremlins all year.
Yeah.
Coil packs, Fallon plugs.
Yeah.
I broke a lot of stuff in Point Pleasant last year. One straight away. That hurt.
But I did. Like that Sunday there, a lot of people don't take the time to sit and digest Class 7.
Yeah.
They watch the craziness, they see the crazy pictures, but they don't really technically look at it the way you would technically look at some of the other classes.
Right.
And they should, because we were down on power, we were technically out of it, points wise. But I enjoyed watching the competitive pack go at it, because it changed what I thought that class was. I thought there was a couple of front runners in that class, and then you had the pack, you know? And it's not. It's not. Any boat can win on any day.
Yep.
They're all phenomenal. I didn't feel uncomfortable whatsoever in your boat at any point in time.
I don't know how the hell Derek and Garrett ran that Punisher boat the way they did.
Man.
And they said they like flashed 60, and I was like, how? Even if you broke, I would take the trophy. Because that was incredible.
Dude.
They were a rocket that day.
I don't think I've ever seen a boat that well balanced.
Yeah.
Ever.
But it was a rocket.
I mean, it was perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
And I think Bird was leading him for a little while, most of the race. For those of you listening to this podcast, if you're interested in watching what we're talking about, it's on YouTube, on OPA Racing. The live stream from Ingle Beach Waterfest is there. I mean, you can watch it. Bird was leading him for a while. He broke right in front of us.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't long before Dawson came around us. And I remember watching that thing fly through the air, thinking to myself, what are you doing, man? But it was beautiful. It was poetry.
It was perfect.
It was perfect. Those two ran that boat better than I've ever seen anybody run a little boat. I mean, that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's the important part of Class 7.
Yeah.
There's a team that will move up.
Yeah.
There's no doubt
Absolutely.
in my mind. There's a team that will move up, that will get better, that will get into better boats, that will get into better classes, that deserve to do it.
Yeah.
You know, like that I love that. I love seeing that. The checkbook guys, they don't get me excited.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Guys like them, they will wind up in Class 3, Class 4.
I hope so.
And dude,
I hope so.
They'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know,
they're
good,
exciting to
man.
watch.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see teams grow.
It's awesome.
It really is.
If look at the V Light class and Pro Stock V that I'm going into now, most of them are Class 7 guys.
Yeah. Steve Papp.
Yeah, Kyle.
Starting Class 7. Kyle.
Yeah, I believe.
Jay.
Uzi. I'm pretty sure I've heard Uzi was a Class 7 guy in the beginning.
Okay.
I think Randy said that on the last podcast. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I had no idea.
But it's cool. It's so cool to see that I hate calling it we made the mistake once. I don't know if you were there. My old man called Class 7 Little League.
Yeah.
You can't have the major leagues without Little League.
I remember I wasn't at that race, but I was at the race that we all showed up at, and he was like, "Oh, Sorry,
he apologized.
Oh yeah.
He didn't mean it that way. But what he meant was that is super important.
Yeah.
That is incredibly important in the sport to have a feeder class, a class that you can afford to get into to get your feet wet, or for guys that want to be around but can't afford to be around. It's a perfect class. The one thing that I would love to shoot down is this recent notion that Class 7 is like a entry level class.
Yeah.
When they say entry level, what they mean, I know for like a fan that was thinking about getting into this, there's no way to make this distinction. What they mean by entry level is entry level cost.
Yeah.
It is not an entry level class. You have killers in that class.
Yeah.
You have Perry in that class, Impression in that class, Riley in that class, Bird in that class, the Lowers in that class. You have.
There's a lot of fast boats.
If you go down that line, they're killers.
Yeah.
These guys can kick your ass on any race course at any point in time. This is not I'm gonna build a boat for.
Take some rides.
Yeah, no, dude.
It's might get a win.
It's not that, dude.
No.
You're gonna get your
gotta
ass
come in
waxed.
Ready to go.
Yeah, dude. When I first figured it out, was our first race together was Michigan City.
Yeah.
And that green flag went up, and I thought we were going backwards.
Yeah.
I was like, holy fuck, how did that fast?
Yeah.
I didn't know that type of R&D was put into.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, dude, and that's the truth. I'm around this shit a lot. So I think, like, how do people that are not around this look at Class 7?
Right.
Because I looked at it like the affordable class.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't realize it was all that. Yeah. I didn't know what we were biting off.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But it's awesome, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah.
I really, really
I'm
do.
glad you did.
It's awesome, man.
It's a great class. I love it.
It's so cool. But you got to fix my steering wheel, dude.
Yeah, I got to fix that.
You got to fix my I'm going to give you a new one as soon as we get out of here. You got to. I'll post a picture on the podcast page after we're done with this.
Do you have a picture of the steering wheel?
I do. I have a helicopter picture in motion of us running in Inglewood with that steering wheel, my knuckles on the dashboard, and my other hand's in my chest.
It was crazy. We got down there, and I looked, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, the steering wheel's bad. Because we almost spun it out in like a pack on it, and fixing the boat and doing all this stuff, getting it ready for Inglewood, totally didn't even look at the steering wheel. And I got down there, we pulled in, and I'm looking at the boat, and I'm like, shit, what are we going to do?
It's a taco.
Sucks. Yeah.
It's a taco,
totally
man.
bent over on the one side. It's horrible.
It's hard to drive.
Yeah.
We got to fix that.
Yeah. Definitely have to fix that.
Yeah, man. Class 7's so cool. I could talk about it all day. I do, most days. Most people ask me about racing, and that's what I talk about. I don't talk about anything else. I love that class, man. And I think I love it because it represents growth in the sport.
Yeah.
It really does, because nobody moves backwards.
Right.
Like, there's no Class 5 team that's now a Class 7 team.
Yeah.
You know, so every Class 7 team you see is a new class.
Yeah.
Is a new team, not a new class. I'm sorry.
And you talk to anybody in Class 7, all of us talk about wanting to move up at some point too.
Right.
So whether it's feasible or not, everybody wants to do it. So
Yeah.
it's a cool thing.
And you even have guys that are just content.
Yeah.
You know, like there's definitely I talk to Joe Riley a lot from Shadow Pirate, and he tells me all the time, I have no interest in getting out of this class. I love this class, you know, which I agree with him. I really do.
It's a
like,
cool thing.
if I had a little Class 7 boat set up, I'd come.
Yeah.
I'd come here and there. I mean, it's unbelievable. You can't. I guess the best way to explain it is like go-karts.
Yeah.
It's like go-karts. They're not fast enough to where you're afraid of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you want to win, you got to know how to drive.
Push, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you ever go to like a real good go-kart track?
Like a recreational one?
Any kind of one.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
All right, so you got your one buddy that goes in there wide open, slides the tires out to the wall, and you go underneath them, and you never see him again, right?
Right.
Well, that's Class 7.
Yeah.
It's go-karts, man. It's technical. It's hard to do. It's hard to compose a boat over the course of a whole race. That's the other thing I noticed. There's a lot of lead changes in Class 7.
Yeah.
More so than I think people even realize, because of the live stream focusing in elsewhere so often, which I really hope gets fixed. That to me is horrible, that class doesn't get spotlighted.
Yeah, there's a lot of good battles throughout the race just in the class. And even if the guy he's leading the whole race, there's somebody right there.
Yeah.
There's always somebody right there.
Somebody's knocking on the door at every position.
Yeah.
It's not like that to me, that's so cool because you don't see that often. But in class 7, it's the normal.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're in 5th, 6th is on your transom.
Right.
You know,
all times.
Dude, I think it's the coolest thing. I really do. I think it's the coolest class in boat racing.
Yep.
I'd put my stamp on it. Not that fucking means anything, but I would. I'm excited about it. And there's so many cool things happening right now. I mean, Mercury with this big outboard push, this outboard fad, wave, flood, whatever you want to call it.
It's taking over every part of boating.
Yeah.
All the recreational boating, sport boats, your big cruisers, all have outboards.
Yeah.
Everything. It's pretty amazing.
Dude, it's unreal.
It's pretty amazing.
When you see, like, back in the day, if you saw a boat with 4 outboards, that was a lot.
Yeah, it was like,
that was like a lot.
Yeah, that's expensive.
Now, every company's got one with 6 of them.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. It's not
it's
outlandish.
It's crazy.
You know, and like I'm an inboard guy. I'm not really an outboard guy. And I look at it and I'm like, why wouldn't you just put a couple of?
The older I get, working on outboards is a lot easier.
It is, man. I'm starting to come around. I'm starting
around that much.
I'm starting to come around on it, man. It really is an awesome concept. And Mercury is leading the charge. Yeah. I mean, just leading the charge.
By far.
I felt horrible when I read that BRP closed up the outboard section with Evinrude because I mean that's just Evinrude's been around forever. You know, so that was horrible to learn, but it's inevitable. Yeah, it's inevitable. I mean, there's just any new boat today, you're trying to buy it with a Mercury. If you bought it with anything else, it was only because of the price.
It's Mercury or Yamaha,
right? And
that's based on just personal preference at this point.
Well, and Yamaha does build a good product.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
And there's another side of that. Even the Evinrudes, we just talked about them going out of business, but truthfully, they really shouldn't have. Right. That G2 and that, I mean, the whole line run great.
Yeah, they all run awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that nobody else is putting out a compatible product. Just nobody else is making the power and the reliability that Mercury's making right now. I mean, when you can buy a motor with a 6-year warranty. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that do that, but Mercury gives you a race-ready 400-horse outboard with 3-4 years on it right out of the box.
Right out of the box.
Right out of the box. Good. Try and kill it.
Yeah, blow it
Try,
up.
and you know they are.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, try and kill it. You can't.
No, I know a guy that has a skater and he runs everywhere.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah.
But runs.
Yeah.
Just runs and runs and runs and runs. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool.
It's amazing, man. When we were in Bimini. And no knock on anybody else, but when we were in Bimini for the race back then, they had a big fishing tournament that either just happened or was happening after the race. It was one or the other, and there was some residual. There was some boats just hanging around in the marina, maybe hanging for the race. I don't know what the deal was there, but every single one of them had Mercuries on the back.
It's awesome.
And I remember sitting on the dock, and I was bullshitting with one of the guys from the hotel there, and he said to me, "Yeah, any boat that came here with anything other than a Mercury got towed home." That's and he's not in the business. He's not in the sport. That was just an observation that he made. Any boat that came here with anything else got towed home.
That's awesome.
That's Mercury's the shit, man.
Yeah,
they really are.
I have no complaints. So.
I love them, man. And I know there's a lot of opinions surrounding Mercury, but the truth is the truth, man. Go to the 525. Explain to me the myth of the 525.
They're still running,
dude.
People still have them. There's still people are buying them.
Yeah, I mean it's unbelievable. The ones in the fountain have literally been in there from day one. Yep. From day one. I mean, we've rebuilt the heads and shit, but they've never exploded.
No,
ever.
They just keep going.
Yeah, it's unreal. And I run that with my old man now, who's not a Throttleman at all, like whatsoever. I love him, talented. I mean, he's unbelievable. He knows how to win.
Yeah. But
he ain't easy on equipment. And what blows my mind is you'll come in from...
I'm waiting to see him like peek his head in the room and be like, did you say something?
we were running in Inglewood there on Sunday. That was enormous water.
It was building, during our race.
Yeah.
It was built that back stretch. First off, I never laughed so hard in a boat during a race in my entire life. We just laughed the whole fucking time. And we kept saying, we're like, it's getting rougher. Think so.
Well, it started off that we were laughing that I've never been surfing in a race before. Yeah. I felt like I was surfing. A wave would just pick your boat up and carry it down the backstretch. But it was getting so big. When I got in the fountain, I was trying to explain that to him. And I was also trying to explain to him that I just got the shit kicked out of me in a Class 7 boat. So we got.
He rolled up. He's like, "Your ass hurt?" I'm like, "Yeah, a little bit, yeah."
Yeah, dude. So I'm trying to explain this all to him. The green flag goes up, and there's no telling him shit. I mean, they're on the dashboard, and that's where they're going to stay until the checker flag comes out. And we were talking about the 525s. When we come in from 8 laps or 10 laps or however many laps of absolute hell, you pull the throttles back, and they sit there and they idle at 700 RPM, 800 RPM, like pussycats. They shift nice, easy to move around the dock. I mean, it's like nothing ever happened. Yep. You open a bilge, there's not a drop of oil. There's
crazy, isn't it?
It's unreal, man. It's like how? It's Mercury. Yeah. It's Mercury, man. They're killing it right now. And think about this. How often do you hear the words 1750, 1650, 1550? Yeah. Mercury is putting these motors out like it's no big deal. Yeah. Dude.
And they're running.
And they run, and it's no big deal. Look at Class 1. Yeah. They're hopped up 1075s to 1350, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. But I believe.
Was it that or the 1100s?
I think they're 1100s. Yeah, you're right. So I don't think a single one of them had an engine failure all year.
Not that I know of.
Not that I watched.
Track, but
I mean,
it seemed like it.
So I look back, and this is no knock on engine builders. We're engine builders here. It's what we do. Was racing engines. But when you got somebody like Mercury who is putting out that kind of product now versus rewind 10 years, rewind 15 years ago, right? It's not that far. The big class was extreme. Yeah. And the big joke was who was going to break first. Yeah. If one boat finished the race out of all of them, it was impressive. You know, I can remember watching Big Thunder Marine chasing Johnny Tomlinson in either Budweiser or Bacardi.
Was it the Bud Select?
It might have been Bud Select. It was in that.
I feel like that was the same boat, just repainted like 4 times.
Maybe.
I'm like.
But it was in that. It was in those years, and Big Thunder had the four big blocks in it, and I remember watching. It was hilarious. They couldn't keep the blower belts on, neither one of them. So Johnny Tomlinson would go. He was running with Dave Scott, I believe, at the time. He would come around a turn and he'd blow a blower belt. And then you'd get Big Thunder coming around a turn, and they'd catch him and pass him, and they'd blow a blower belt. And then he'd get his back on and come around. This went on for 10 laps. None of them ever got the speed. They just kept blowing the blower belts off.
It's amazing.
So fast forward to 1100s running the entire season without a hiccup.
Yeah.
Without a hiccup. At 150 miles an hour, 155 miles an hour.
Yep.
No big deal. Yeah. It's unreal, man. They're killing it.
Is just, you can't compare with it.
Money, man. Money talks.
You can't compete with it.
They're putting a lot of time and money into their product.
Yep.
You know, if you sit with Stuart Haley, I was lucky to hang out with him in Seattle. He was at that meeting at the APBA meeting, and I was sitting there talking with him. And you got to he's at every race. Mm-hmm. Seek him out and find him, and just pick his brain. Really? The guy's a guru, man. A guru. He's an outboard guy, and listening to him talk about their product is like listening to him tell you about his son's football game. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a different kind of pride. There's a different kind of. It's not cocky or confidence. It's pride. He took pride in everything he designed.
He believes in what he put out.
Their engineers are unbelievable. They're unbelievable, man. And I'm not saying that that's unique to Mercury. Right. But you see the result. Yeah. You see the result. It's unbelievable. So I can't speak highly enough of them, and their involvement in offshore has been steadily increasing. I think it needs to increase.
We certainly need them.
Yeah, we need them, yeah. And not that they need us anymore. I mean, they basically monopolized everything, but it would be nice to see a bigger jump in their help, because they are racing. Yeah, I mean they are. They're synonymous with any form of offshore. Or
absolutely.
Yeah, so
absolutely,
I'd love to see them step up. I'd love to see maybe a better rate on motors for Class 7. Maybe start to develop a set of spec class rules for Class 7.
It is funny. I was even thinking about it the other day, and I'm like, I wonder what that motor would do on my boat.
Yeah.
Just looking at just the V6 200.
Right.
Just going, I wonder how that would run.
The V8 one?
The V6, the 200.
Okay. Right.
It's
I
still,
thought you meant the 300.
Just thinking about it, and I'm like, I wonder how it would run.
Yeah, it'd run great.
Yeah.
It'd run great. And they're not crazy money. And if Mercury would work with us, which I think they would, just got to have the conversations.
Product.
Yeah. And we got to get the guys together.
Yeah.
Got to get the guys together and get a game plan and see who wants to do this, who doesn't want to do this. But I think that's the evolution of the class.
Yeah, because, eventually we're going to not be able to buy parts. And it's going to be tough to build the motors that we have or fix the motors that we have.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there has to be some sort of evolution to it.
I think you're slowly approaching where we're at right now in Pro Stock V.
Yeah.
Where we love the 525. We want to continue running the 525.
Right.
We just can't. It's hard to get parts. We're having to now write engine rules around a stock engine.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
once you start to do that, it's great right now.
It's starting to get crazy. Then.
It's going to get a little fucky. It's going to get a little off. And we're going to have to look to do something different, maybe the 565 or something like that. And I would just love to see Mercury step up and help Offshore.
Yeah.
They certainly have the money to do it.
Yeah, right.
I'm not asking you to pay us for motors. I'm asking you to sell me motors cheaper.
We're going to give you money for these.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot, there's a lot there. There's a lot to gain from it on both sides.
Yeah.
Mercury is the shit, but we need to brand Mercury to Offshore again.
Absolutely. Back in the day, it was the coolest thing going to a race and you see the Mercury truck there with, how many sets of props in there and being like, wow. This is pretty awesome.
It was like pulling into a parking lot and seeing your favorite band's tour bus.
Yeah,
that's what it was like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so cool. Like I love, and they've been around. They help out with not just forever, but last season they help out with the 1100 class, with the tech in the 1100 class. They're stepping up with the super stock class.
Cool.
And they're in and out on the Pro Stock V class. There's not much to really tech there. We have a pretty ironclad set of rules for that class, but it would just be good to see them get a little more involved.
Yeah,
because it is. I can't explain to people why I'm so excited right now, but I'm so excited for Offshore because I came into Offshore on the downswing. I came into Offshore when it was at its low.
Yeah.
And I've watched the struggle of not just my father, but every single organization who tried their hardest. People have a lot to say about the Carbonells listen, what I can tell you is from watching what goes on in this organization, it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy, man. And it's so easy to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy. And everybody has put their all into it. And it's never gotten the traction. 2019, the ball wasn't just rolling, it was flying down the hill. The momentum is rolling. And then we get this COVID thing.
You could feel it. You go to a race last year, and it was like, this is one of the best races I've ever been to. Just going to Michigan City last year.
Unreal.
That's the best race I've ever been to, I think.
Unreal, man.
I've never seen so many people in a small town, but just excited, even for a Class 7 boat. And it's the craziest thing. And I'm like, really?
They had signs.
Yeah.
They had signs.
Yeah.
Remember, they had fucking signs.
Yeah.
We love you. We love boats.
Yeah,
Remember the one guy? I love boats.
I love boats.
I love boats.
They're coming up to the truck, high-fiving you in the parade.
Yeah.
And you can't help but smile. Like, your face hurts.
It's unbelievable.
Because you're smiling so much, and it's like, this is all for boat racing. This is amazing.
And dude, I don't know about everybody else. It didn't feel like an elevated status. It didn't feel like I'm a celebrity or.
I thought it was humbling.
I was like, this many people give a shit?
Yeah, that's what I was like. I was totally humbled. I was like, not that I'm ever arrogant about boat racing. Shit, I raced an 86 22-foot boat. But to go there and see people excited about that, it was like, wow, it's pretty cool that you could share it with them.
And
there's that love there.
And there's something about, like, Michigan City happens to be in Indiana, and I always lump it into Michigan because it's Michigan City. But there's something about that swing that we do through Michigan and Indiana. And Michigan's always been that way. We used to have 3 in a row. Yeah. For years, we had 3 in a row in Michigan. And people would say, like, why do you go up there? Why do you go all the way to Michigan for 3 races back to back to back to back? Because you can't imagine how much they love offshore racing.
And performance boats around there too.
Oh, it's unreal. And they don't age.
Yeah.
Dude, I pulled up to, I believe we were in East Tawas, Michigan.
I remember that race.
The marina that we stayed in, where the pits were, had two 27 Magnums sitting out front on the racks that looked like the day they were built. Because there's no salt.
Yeah.
Like every performance boat that's up there looks like brand new. It's unbelievable. It's like a time machine when you go to Michigan. And not only that, the cars. When we were in East Tawas, Michigan, that whole town must have worked for a Ford plant because there was nothing but old Fords, and they were mint.
That's so cool.
Mint,
That's
dude.
a cool thing.
It's so cool, and I miss that. I miss like these are the things that you miss in offshore. It's not that I want to go race my boat. It's everything about it. Yeah. It's everything.
Even Michigan City. So remember, we were in the parade and your dad came over. He's like, I'm at this bar. You got to go. It's such a cool place. It's the oldest bar. So my wife and I, we met him there. We sit down. He goes, here, get something to eat. We're like, okay. The woman comes over. She goes, what do you want? I'm like, well, you have menu? She's like, cheese or without? Burgers. Cheese or without? I'm like, with cheese? Okay, came out. It was the biggest cheeseburger I've ever seen, and the thing was hot for like an hour. It's like they killed the cow out back and then made the burger right there, and I'm eating it, and I'm like, here, because you eat the rest of this. She's like, oh, all right. She's like, yeah, it's gonna be cold, and I'm like, no, just eat this. And she's like, holy shit, this thing's amazing,
dude. It's so cool.
But you go in, and the bar's really old, and you feel it.
Yeah.
You know, and they're excited for you too.
Yeah.
They want to talk to you too. It's such a cool thing.
My girlfriend Sam and I were there for a while. We went straight from St. Clair to Michigan City. There was no reason to drive all the way back to New Jersey and then get in a truck and drive all the way back for the next race the next weekend. We stayed over in Michigan, in Michigan City, and we found this cool little breakfast place. When you walked in, it was like, it must have been an old train station. So it was all still done like a train station.
That's cool.
But it was like an old like the old train carts and like the old. Oh, it's so cool. All the old conductor shit on the wall. Like I was blown away. The soda, they had like a fridge, like an old 50s or 60s like Coke refrigerator. You know, like how they look with the old like 1957 Coke bottles in them and shit. I'm like, you don't see this. You don't. You know, to me, it's not just the racing; it's everything that goes into it. I miss it. I want to get back. I want to get back to it.
And it's all those things, the towns that you love, that you find. You go to a race and you find out about the town, and you're there, and all these cool places, and you want to go back to those. So.
Yeah. How about that Blue Chip Casino?
That place is insane.
When you walked into the casino, did you know you were standing on a boat?
Not really.
They built the whole casino on a boat.
Yeah, it was
so cool.
Yeah,
And they're the best up there, man. Rick Wright and Jack. His name's gonna flood out of my head right now. It's Rick Wright and his partner Jack, and actually I believe Jack employs Rick. I'm screwing this whole thing up, but they're just amazing people.
Yeah.
Jack is like the most animated dude you've ever met in your whole life.
Super nice guy.
Super nice guy.
Incredibly nice guy.
And his guy Rick, that he sends to all the races to get the 1-2 on everything that's going on. Rick is like the nicest dude you'll ever meet in your life.
Absolutely.
And they took such good care of our guys up there.
They helped us out getting to Michigan City, and I met him in Ozark, and he said, "I'll help you get there. Just get there."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay."
Yeah, he's great.
He's true to his word.
Yeah.
Awesome guy.
That's another awesome thing too. Is we have what they call the promoters group now that they've put together, where it's not just, I've never seen this in offshore ever before.
No, neither have I.
The promoters of the race sites, who were always like the forgotten.
Right.
You know, it was always thank you OPA and thank you the sponsors, and then it was like the promoters were sitting there like, we did all the work, you know. But and like I always felt so bad about that, you know, like
a thankless job,
like extremely thankless.
Yeah.
Like the one person always comes to mind for me, and that's Tony Potoff and her husband Sam.
Yeah.
They do such an amazing job on the Jersey Shore with their whole staff. I mean, Angela, everybody, they're incredible, and they never get that recognition. Right. They never, so it's cool to see this promoters group coming together, and they all stick together. They're all super tight. They share resources. They help each other where maybe one race site does the awards a little better, he'll help you out with how to maybe do it better at your spot,
bounce ideas.
Yeah, they bounce shit off each other. So I'm so excited. This COVID fucking thing screwed everything up. But I'm so excited to see how the race sites now evolve.
Yeah.
You know, like it's only gonna get better. You know, so it's just such a cool thing, and I'm missing it. I don't know if anybody can tell. I've only said it 4,632 times, but it's killing me, man. I want to go back. It's horrible, but what do we got here? Oh shit! Timed out on me. Edit that out.
Oh boy.
Bang. Done. We're back in. My computer, it's still doing this funky thing. This fucking bullshit.
We're all good over here with the cameras.
Huh?
So we're all good over here with the cameras.
I'll have to edit this little junk part out here.
Right.
Somehow it flipped onto a tempo and it's now going.
Oh boy.
I changed that. There we go. We're good.
Okay.
We're back in. Cool. We're golden. I don't know how how do you come back in?
Just, I don't know.
Just fuck it?
Technical difficulties.
What is it like? Was it like the old public access symbol? Technical difficulties with is it like the different color bars?
Put a hazard sign.
A hazard sign.
We should switch seats real quick. But I don't know how long was that? Huh? Anyway, where we're at right now.
This is your third 25-minute, so
About
now
an hour and a half.
fourth 25-minute, I think.
Now fourth.
Yeah,
Let's cut it there.
that's good time.
Yeah, let's cut it there. We'll come back in from that fuck up with an outro. I don't know how the fuck to even do an outro. How do you end
All
it?
right, I think we covered everything.
Yeah, we covered fucking everything.
But I think we covered everything.
Yeah,
Class 7, OPA, COVID.
Fuck
Governor
COVID.
sucks.
Fuck the governor too.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
That's about it.
Thanks for coming by, dude.
I was happy to be here.
I appreciate you,
I
man.
was so excited to use my old headphones from when I used to podcast. I got them out. I'm like, I